let's break down the mechanics of how integrations work. Everyone thinks integrations is one thing, one type of integration, but you have shown me that that's actually not the case. So learn a new thing every day, old dog, new tricks. So of the different types of integrations that exist, can you kind of break that down first? And then let's talk about what type of integration for the purposes of building an entire experience. What is poor, what is okay, and what is the best type of integration we should go for? So first of all, let's break it down first and then talk about good, bad, ugly.
Yep, I can do that. So yeah, I think there's three different types of integrations. So the first one is point-to-point integrations. So point-to-point integrations are they're for developers. So developers learn about products and services. They learn about the sort of two things that they're trying to integrate, and then they write code to actually connect them. So developers doing the whole job. They're implementing security best practice, they're implementing code reuse, they're implementing code deployment processes. I can't sort of stress enough, it's a developer-focused activity, right? This is for developers, point-to-point integrations. That's the first one. The second one is iPaaS. So this is Integration Platform as a Service. So this is targeted firstly to non-technical users. So you're looking at a point-and-click style interface to be able to create integrations between some of those common products and services that you'd be using. And iPaaS always provides pre-built integrations as well for some of the common workflows, so it's much faster to get up and running. Developers also have their place in iPaaS. Some of those products that you have to integrate with, that landscape is vast. Developers have a place in iPaaS to add those custom integrations as well. So it's not fully one or the other. It's sort of a place where developers and sort of non-technical users can get together and build integrations. And that's the second type. And the third type is productized integrations. So productized are 100% no code, fully managed, out of the box integrations for some of those really commonly used products and services. So they're different in that you go to the DXP, so you go to your actual platform, and you tell it which CRM or CMS or LMS or whatever it is that you're using, and it does all the integration work for you. So it sets it all up, it makes all the relevant connections. So it will do something like ensure that your CRM and your CDP are syncing data automatically once you've told it what your CRM is or what your CDP is. So those are those three types of integrations: point-to-point, iPaaS, and then productized integrations. And if we think about poor, good, best, kind of in that order, really. So point-to-point integrations, they're not great. So they, as I said, they require developers to learn quite a lot about a product. They require them to do their own security work. They require them to do their own code maintenance. So they're slow to actually build ultimately, and expensive too. And then they're integrated directly into a digital experience, like there's code running directly in that experience. So if that integration breaks, if that code breaks, the experience breaks, right? So some of your customers are not being able to perform the tasks that they need. They also need a lot of maintenance. So, you set it up the first time, set it up for great security, but you've got to keep on ensuring that you're not vulnerable to new security issues and customer data breaches, because often we are dealing with customer data, are one of the most important. So there's a lot of ongoing costs there and ongoing risk. And then ultimately you need a developer to do anything. So you need a developer to change any piece of code that you've got, any change you want to do. So they're almost actively making it difficult for you to improve the experience over time, which isn't great. I wouldn't recommend point-to-point integrations, right? They're the sort of poor version of integration. iPaaS is a really good level of integration. I think probably should be considered the absolute minimum that you're trying to target is integration platform as a service. So low code, no code, pre-built integrations. It's fast to get up and running, right? And then everything is centrally managed, everything is governed centrally. So you've got good visibility over where your data is moving. You've got central location to do things like security. It's great. And iPaaS is also sort of one level disconnected from your experience. So if your integration here breaks, your digital experience will keep working. Maybe some of the data is a little bit stale, but you can ensure your customers can still achieve their outcomes until you're actually, you fix something up. So that makes iPaaS integrations fast to build, but also resilient to change as you improve the digital experience. So iPaaS, very good. Productized integrations, probably the best, right? So the best because they're by far the fastest to set up. They're fully managed, right? So you don't have to worry about ongoing maintenance, ongoing updates to maybe the products that you're using, and also security, right? It's taken care of for you, like someone is actively looking after that. So productized integrations are probably best thought of like part of the DXP itself. So the DXP is managing the integration for you so that you don't have to focus on that. You can focus on building brilliant digital experiences really quickly and then improving them over time. So that's kind of how I would align them all up.
So if I were to, again, kind of me trying to layman my way through the understanding, the point-to-point integration is there's no buffer. It's really skin to skin, whatever happens. So if something doesn't work in that one connecting line, everything on the other side breaks, right? And that makes it really hard to maintain.
Yes.
The integration platform as a service, there's a bit of a buffer in between, which means that if one of the lines to the buffer breaks, it's okay. They've stored the data in there. You can still have that experience with maybe outdated, old for a day until you fix it data, but that doesn't break the experience. And the productized version is it's going to work every time. And if you swap out, am I right to say that, because you said that it was one of the most, probably for the most common systems or applications being used, like a CRM as an example, you're building something that recognizes the CRM. And if you swap it out, it doesn't break anything. It's really resilient because it was managed fully. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, like if people swap their CRMs, people swap their LMSs, it happens rarely, but it does happen, right? Over the course of, an organization, it's going to happen a few times. And that's a big enough process in itself to move data between systems. And often, one vendor is going to help you get your data out of another system and get into theirs, but they're definitely not going to help you go and rebuild all of the integrations that you've currently got, all of your digital experiences that are using the data. So you're 100% right. Like the more buffer you've got, the easier that process is. Even if you're using iPaaS, that process of migration or change, you've got a little bit of that buffer there. You're just sort of thinking about how stale is that data going to be? How long is my migration process? But with productized, you can swap that out once you've done your migration, and your experience keeps working because it doesn't really know that you've got Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever for your CRM. It just knows there's a CRM there. Let me just talk to the CRM. So the more buffer, 100% the better, more resilient to change you are. And I mean, change is 100% inevitable, right? Like your experience will change, your customers' expectations will change, your organization will change, the industry changes. So you need to be prepared for that.
And I think that's maybe coming back to one of the why siloed systems technology integration challenges and fragmented customer data was the biggest rise in a challenge in that CMS-wide surveys, because people like me who try to manage the customer experience, just the pain of trying to figure out how we do that without breaking existing experiences as we're building the new. It's just so painful that we just avoid it and maybe just end up with a legacy system that we never change. And then it just gets bigger and more Frankenstein. So I think that's really good for everybody to hear about.